Exploring meditation is filled with several unknowns, magical, miraculous. It's like if most of us know about Himalayas or any vast mountain series that you want to think of, or maybe Amazon forests, which are vast, which no one still perhaps know what is the end of them, right? They're so vast. We only explored some peaks, but entire thing did we explore? Not necessarily. So when you go into these Himalayas, just the way we find so many things, so many spots, so much of beauty, mysticism, you might find mystics along the way. It's not possible to predict everything that you can have when you go into Himalayas, unless you just said, okay, there's 2-3 days, I'm going to go only here and come back. Meditation, going into this our journey, meditative journey, is also like that. So when you go into Himalayas, we start with, say, Rishikesh, which is the foothills of Himalayas. There itself you see the nice Ganges, and then Himalayan mountains are so majestic. They're there a little away from the town. But the moment you just step out of Rishikesh, we start experiencing the gorges, beautiful, multiple gorges. We start experiencing the caves. There is a cave called Vashishta cave right outside. Very, very, very powerful, energetic. Vashishta is a great sage of India. Great sage of India. The energy in there, you feel like meditating, you don't feel like coming out. You go along, there are a lot of confluences. Sangamam, it's called, multiple rivers come together. Ganga and Mandakini. In fact, we even had river names of Himalayas in the last group. Various rivers come together, confluences, beautiful sight. The gorges are like, just amazing. They are like mountain after mountain after mountain after mountain, right? The Himalayas are like that. If you've seen the map, it's like just spreads hundreds of kilometers. From confluences you can go to Joshimath, you can go to one side to Kedarnath, another side to Badrinath, another side you can go to Mahadar Babaji caves. You can go further, Haidakan ashrams. But wherever you go, there are these caves, there are these ashrams, there are these so many ashrams. Then you have these confluences, you have this beautiful valley, snow-peaked covered. You keep coming out and then they disappear, they come up. The warmth of the people is just amazing. Such a warm people. Warm. They're really, really warm people of Uttarakhand, I believe. The point is, we find, and there are temples right at the peak in some places. If you're going by the night, then you suddenly see people living on the entire mountain. Big mountain, but they live from the top of the mountain all the way down, at least perhaps maybe 400, 500 feet down. There are huts and houses along the edges, and then it's an amazing sight to see the lights that go up night times to see these twinkling stars. Meditation journey is exactly like that. When we start off, we all could have come for different reasons of why we came into meditation. But we stumble upon a good health. I might have come to manifest something, but I stumble upon great health. I'll take that. My eyes may be set on how do I get my business issues resolved. That's probably why I came into meditation. There is some crisis or not, or in some cases there's no crisis, but somewhere some discontentment is there. So, but there is maybe one reason or two. Some of us have come. Some of us have come because Karthikeyans had asked us to do, or Chandra is asking, or Madhavans are asking us to do. See, let's explore. If someone successful people are exploring, why not we also explore to see what is there? So when we are in this exploration state, we need to be very open and explorative state because we stumble upon health. We take it. We start having these great relationships. We start experiencing, suddenly people come in and say good things about us. Out of nothing, you don't even expect, but people come, walk up to you and say the good things about us. People who are mean in the past are now being very friendly to us. We go along, we start seeing those long pending issues, business issues get resolved. We start seeing sudden cash flows, sudden paychecks coming. Suddenly you may lose job. We feel, what's happened? I'm meditating. What happened here? Losing job. By the next day, you land a great job. I'm seeing it. People are sharing this. They lose a job, but then they are open. The right thing is happening. And then say, you know what? Now suddenly I'm hired with a 50% more salary. I'm talking about COVID times. So surprises come. But then you may not have expected them. They keep coming. All the surprises come. Synchronicities happen. What we think is what suddenly shows up in front or in that email. It is founded in the principle that this field is unlimited wave of possibilities. Endless waves of possibilities exist in the field. If we go into meditation with a specific expectation, we make it, that means making it predictable. Our thoughts and feelings create reality. So what we project is what we get. What we project is what we may get at best. So if we go in with a predictive meditation, then we are limiting ourselves grossly. If I'm going into the Himalayas and say the only thing I want to do is to go to Manasa Devi temple and nothing more, so my eyes are set straight, then I go to Manasa Devi temple and come back. That's all. I don't even look at anything else because I'm just so not blindfolded, my eyes are set. So we want to be open because the whole journey of meditation is to be totally open. I can't tell you how much you can emphasize. We have intentions, we have wishes, we put our intentions, we put our wishes, but when it comes to actually experiencing meditation, we have to completely disengage from those. And then we do not analyze. We go into the meditation as if you're doing every day a fresh meditation. Just the way when we meet a successful personality, a grandmaster of any field, we have to become zero in that field and then be in front so that we can receive as much as possible from that other person who can offer. If I'm going to Ramani sir and asking about how to run a non-profit, I need to just go and then not fill up him with what I know. Yes, sir, I'll just wait. Sir, yes, sir, tell me. Take more, who has developed it from zero to so much and then so much respect. We heard the story of my CB sir, how people want him to do more and more and more. Money is not a problem. So just the way we become zero, we need to become zero in front of people who have accomplished, even otherwise. Spiritually rich, we surrender and then take maximum. Spiritually poor, we give our knowledge. That's where we have to open our mouth and give our knowledge. Help them fully. Material rich, friendship. Materially poor, whatever that we can help, do it. So we need to be totally empty in our meditation practice, then we get maximum out of it. So when I'm guiding, I'm saying, this is an unpredictable field. You're going into the field of unpredictability, unknown, like that Himalayas, unknown. Anything can come. And the more we are open, because then we're not influencing any possibility, so anything can come. And then what is decided? It is decided by the entire consciousness of all that are being understood. But the consciousness is always paying attention. Consciousness is awareness. Awareness is always paying attention to us. And so and it is always interested to see that you experience maximum. And as a result, we friends, we make it very unpredictable meditation. Let's go into this meditation once again. So that's why we understand the experiences of meditation, like energy, heaviness, lightness, so that you can accept them as common things to move forward, right? Not having an experience is not at all to mean that one is not having good meditation at all. They are no two different things. Not having any experience is one type of experience when it comes to meditation practice. So experience are one thing. So do not analyze when we are seeing, because we may not get anything in meditation, but we are, when I say unlimited possibility, what if there's a possibility? So we receive that information frequency because we learned this whole field is full of information, right? The whole energy field is full of information and the thoughts are information influencing each other. So we're receiving this information, which is the right thing for us, like those insights and all of that, they do come to us. The energy that is going in and then of course clearing blocks in the body. Are we receiving extra information which is we've forgotten so that it's going to clear our belief that we otherwise deeply were lived with? All the beliefs slowly melt away. So relax yourself, dear friends. Sit comfortably. We'll go into that same breath mindfulness meditation. For the new ones, we are doing Hanapana Sati, our breath mindfulness. So being mindful of our normal, natural breath for the whole duration of the meditation. Our goal is to empty the mind of all thoughts, 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day for an average person. So when we meditate, when we observe a breath, anywhere, take any point on the nose and observe breath is going in, coming out. And when you observe the breath, Gautama Buddha discovered that our mind slowly becomes empty. Simple equation. So we don't fight the thoughts, we don't focus on the thoughts, but if our mind attention goes on to the thought, bring the attention back to the breath. Observe any point on the nose. Breath is going in, coming out, so thoughts are coming down, but however, mind is sort of controlling the body at this point. And so it immediately takes us going to the thoughts. We have thousands of thoughts. Bring your attention back to the breath. The moment you realize, bring it back. The moment you realize, bring it back. So we keep oscillating between these two states, which is natural. It is not an expectation for the whole duration of meditation. One is totally empty-minded. It is not an expectation at all. We keep switching between these two because it's just the nature. Even after 30 years of practice, people still be that way. I'm that way too, and it is perfectly fine. So observe the natural breath and empty the mind. Mind becomes empty automatically. And as the mind is getting empty, we start experiencing the greater emptiness, so that it might be so any kind of feelings, any kind of sensations in the body, be a witness and observe them. Be a pure witness. Do not analyze and observe them. And the posture for this breath mindfulness meditation, remove the specs, close your eyes. Number one, cross your fingers into fingers, rest your hands comfortably in your lap, and then cross your feet at ankle. Three things. Cross your feet at ankle, fingers into fingers, rest your hands comfortably in your lap, close your eyes, and observe the breath. And then before we do that, I'm doing for 5 minutes what we call heart elevation process. Just follow me actively. You're going to keep your hand on your chest area like this. And the crux of that is to fill up your heart with a heightened emotion that makes us one with others, with nature, with animals. Anything that makes us one with the universe, one with everything that is around us, is an emotion called love, gratitude, compassion. So we fill our hearts with those emotions. for these 5 minutes. It's called heart elevation process. Relax yourself, dear friends. Okay. We are into the final days. So we're understanding to live a meaningful life, more meaningful life. Many accomplished leaders here already is serving a great purpose. So we learned how to be creative. Our life is about experiences, so we always want to do different things, new things. It starts with learning and then experiencing. Because there is law of infinity that exists. Then understanding the purpose to make it more meaningful, make the life more meaningful. When there is infinity that exists, understanding our purpose, the life purpose, or the purpose at this time, understanding that and aligning to that ultimately makes our experience far greater. So purpose of life, Dalai Lama, if I quote Sri Dalai Lama, I believe that the very purpose of life is to be happy. From the very core of a being, we desire contentment. In my own limited experience, I have found that the more we care for the happiness of others, the greater is our own sense of well-being. So to be happy and then to have that contentment. And from Dalai Lamaji's limited experience, it is about caring for the happiness of others. Yogananda Paramahamsa mentioned purpose, while he talks about seeking God, but he says, okay, leave the God out, but we all seek happiness, and that can be the purpose. Seeking happiness is the purpose at a broad level. Deepak Chopra says, we use our abilities to express our talents to make this community a greater place to live, a better place to live. At a broad level, that's what Deepak Chopra is saying. To live our dharma is to use our abilities to express our talents. Patriji, on several occasions, said, purpose of life is to learn and enjoy. Learn and enjoy your life to the fullest. And when you are happy, when you are contented, then you naturally have to give that happiness to people around. It starts with us. When we become meditators, it goes without saying that we're going to help others. So, but the key is to learn and enjoy. Is a broadly, the purpose of life is to constantly learn so that we can seek different experiences and then have contentment and enjoyment in that. And then naturally that spreads to everybody else. So purpose of life is not one thing. I mean, there may be an overarching purpose, maybe there for some individuals, which carries on from lifetime to the whole lifetime. But need not be that you have one for the whole lifetime defined that this is what you've done. It need not be. Purpose of life varies from time to time. Essentially, it is about aligning. It's about aligning ourselves at that point with whatever that gives us maximum satisfaction and contentment. It's different for different people, which is natural. We understand it. So, for example, when I look at my life, for three, for 5 years, it was about excelling technology. Then for about 5 years, it is about being in management field. For 5 years, there was hardcore service with Pyramid Valley International, hardcore service, even though I was running business at the same time. It is about this service and then service. That's where I spent all my time in just helping bring up the center. Then if I look at it, for 5 years, talking about meditation into the business and making my business successful as a means to get me prepared for this work that I'm so happily doing right now. And many, many people are doing this work of Buddha Quantum Foundation. And if I look back, every time I was fully aligned, the sense of purpose is there, that why I'm doing what I'm doing is continuously there. We get to know as we meditate, we are getting to know about what is it that I am interested in doing. That remember that self-expression, as we're talking about week 3 about emotional intelligence. So self-awareness to self-expression. So we get to become aware of our feelings and emotions as we do things, and then we start discarding things that we don't like, we don't respond with deep inside, and then we start, the moment we understand that, we start living for what we want. So we have the ability to live for what we want. So we slowly start aligning. If it's about learning music, we do that. If it's about taking a break for some time and then wanting to test our waters in certain area, we do that. Learning has to be there. Enjoyment needs to be there. Many times learning may be there, there's no enjoyment because we're just living our life for others. A lot of times we get carried away with a lot of laziness. There is only enjoyment, but then it leads to stagnation and boring very soon. Where there is no learning, it leads to stagnation and boring. Where there is learning but no enjoyment, of course it's boring. Suppose if my family has got people with multiple degrees, and then if I'm also going into multiple degrees because my family has got, everybody's got multiple degrees. Just do one after the other. Is there any understanding? Is there any enjoyment for it all? Because they've done it, I got to do it. That's not enjoyment. Enjoyment without learning is boring, stagnation. We take a movie, we keep watching the movie. You like it, we're attached to the glamours, vanities, passions. We like that movie, we keep seeing that movie. Because we're attached, we got limiting factors. We're passionate about something. For example, it portrays this country or this community or this caste or religion in a specific way, and then we're attached to it, keep watching. There's no new learning in it. And so we recognize slowly that, that it's just, we wasted a lot of time. We move into a state of boredom. Suddenly we realize there's a state of boredom. What have I done in the last 4 weeks? Other than watching this movie 30 times, nothing I've done. So we miss out, we lose out as we do. We repeat things without learning. It leads to boredom. We learn but no enjoyment, leads to boredom, stagnations. One place is boredom, another place is stagnation. So purpose of life, we keep saying, listen to the heart, not to the mind, right? Listen to the heart. How do I listen to my heart? I think a lot of these questions come. But it is answer. The answer is that we listen to our heart or the intuition or the gut feeling. In order to derive the purpose, we have to jump in to do something. We'll understand each of these a little more clearly. In order to, one is to align, listen to the heart regularly. What does it mean? What is it that I should do? We'll talk about it. And second, we got to jump in and always do something. Don't sit idle because I don't know what to do. A lot of times people won't take an initiative into a business or into a project or into take initiative because they're not clear. So we're not clear, so we just sit idle. Thinking that, okay, let's get the clarity emerge and do it. But we got to jump in and do something. Even Gita says, not doing something is always better than doing nothing. Because we are here to gain an experience, so we constantly want to do something so that we gain a different experience. Nothing wrong in having an experience. Because every experience we learn something simple. That's really how it comes from. Very basic, right? So what does it mean to be listening to our hearts? When we meditate, and if you have a long-term desire of doing something, you wanted to go to this orphanage, you want to start up an orphanage, support an orphanage center, or you want to start a company by yourself, you want to just be done with this corporate job you might be doing. You want to change your domain to something else because these are there, but then somewhere we got tied up with this sense of comfort, right? Living in that comfort zone, so you're not able to come out because look back and say, okay, I've got 3 EMIs to pay and I've got 2 schools, the children education to do. So can I take a risk? And so we just hold ourselves back, right? We become very pragmatic. We make it very predictable, think that what we in the path is what it is, right? But as we meditate, we absolutely start developing that. We start aligning. We start our heart is pretty immediately signaling us that no, this is not something you're liking it, because it does not like to be doing the still same boring work every day. If that's where we are, it is going to signal it more and more strongly. Going to signal more and more strongly as the days go by. In the mornings, you wake up, you probably hear this thing. That voice becomes stronger. You are reading books, suddenly the books are telling you, look at the service opportunity. Suddenly that comes. These are all ways that we hear. We're reading books, we are getting messages. They look contrary to what you want to do, but then they are constantly telling you, you're suddenly meeting a businessman of nowhere in the domain that you want to start. These are all the signs and indications about, and then you can match it with the feelings in your heart. Every time you want to do something, you think about it and then see how does your heart respond. What's the feeling we get first? We can seek an answer in our meditation. Because meditation is lowering the thoughts in the mind, 95% are redundant and negative and then recorded the past, and if they all have been taken out, what is left is that 5%, which oftentimes is most important for us. The challenge in many times as we meditate, while we get these messages, we have to muster the courage and then jump into it, because there will be a breaking point where we say, yes, enough is enough, I'm going to take on to this. So when we recognize these signs, what you do is to take up something and then attempt it. Now we have this manifestation we understood. right? You can take that thing that you want to try. Suppose it's about music, and then you always dreamt of becoming a musician and then wanting to perform. You don't have to change what you're doing. In purpose of life, to determine purpose of life, all you have to do is to go beyond our comfort zone a little bit, continue to do your work or office or whatever, but then business or whatever, but then take up this thing, go beyond your comfort zone, give that extra time. If you're spending 8 hours, create extra 2 hours. Meditation anyway is creating you 3-4 hours extra because you sleep less. So take that extra time, go beyond your comfort zone. If you have to go for a movie and a weekend, cut off the movie and say, hey, let me try this out. I'm going to just now take and then learn music. I want to go out and then help this community project. Take that. Prioritize. Lower versus higher. Body needs, you want to go to a gym and then do exercise versus you want to go and then read a book, right? We can low priorities, the body versus mind. Mind is obviously is giving you a lot more sense of deeper happiness, intellect and understanding. So go and then do some service. Do meditation. If there is a function about meditation function, go and then do that. So there are varying levels of enjoyment that are there. We pick those automatically, something that leads us to the higher side. And so whatever that you want to do, you create time. Meditation is helping us create time, and then try it out. Go beyond your comfort zone. Beyond the comfort zone. It's easy to say that I'm so busy with my work, I can't take time off to do my music practice. Why not? Look around. There are people teaching morning 5 o'clock to night 10 o'clock. So create the time and then try it out, because that means it's all called going beyond the comfort zone. We have to go beyond the comfort zone to be able to find a purpose. And when we go in with that intent and then start it, right, you're not still clear. If it is so clear to you from your meditation, it's great. If it's not still clear, this is where you do something, jump in and experiment. So we start. We have that manifestation thing to feel it, right? Create a vision of the future. So you want to become a musician. And then so for that, you are now looking at it and saying, how will you feel if you actually performed in front of your entire college in your alumni? In your alumni, you're performing in front of all your classmates. How does it feel for you? Your professors are there, lecturers are there. They are saying, what? Rama, you have been singing like this. You're performing like this. Wow. We just only knew as this introvert. Now you're like so cool. How does it feel to you? So put all those feelings and see what happens. Or do you get that feeling? To have that sense of achievement, if you had it in your life, then how does it feel? So this manifestation is a great way where you try to put the feelings and then you will know it, whether it is for you or not. Whether it is going to last longer or not, because as you regularly meditate along with this visualization, and then if it's giving you that feelings, that means you are on it. Same thing with starting a new business, setting up a new job in a startup versus big company. Go and then figure how will your life change. The reason you're going to a smaller company may be because, or a bigger company may be because you want a lot of flexibility. For example, that's what Pradeep said. I want a job with a flexibility, this and that. So then how will your life change with it if you have it? You visualize you are in this community center every day evening. You're feeling so good because people of a similar nature are coming together. You guys are doing something together. So you feel, and then if that feeling grows and grows and grows, that means you are able to align to something that you're going to like. So we don't wait for clarity to emerge. Instead, we jump in to start doing something, and by action, so we will slowly eliminate things that I don't like it. And then, by the way, it doesn't take a long time. The trial and error is called. It's not take a long time. It is with your intent, you jump in. Anyway, your meditation is helping. So it's going to be very quickly, you'll find that this is exactly what I want to do. When I was in my case, 2008 to 13 was 5 years of deep spiritual service. I was living in Boston. Various reasons, various conditions. Suddenly the credit squeeze, this and that. So now we moved back to India. all happened in a beautiful way before even the squeeze bubble occurred. So we moved back at our own terms to India. And we were here. I mean, I went there to set up my company's office in Boston and came back. And within 3-4 months, this whole credit squeeze, our company went almost to a closure state, but we hung in there. And that's the time, this deep feeling for service. I mean, always, I mean, Thirunelveli Valley, I've been associated with 2003. So this desire to do something greater is there. And it so happened, situation got created. So I moved into doing maximum service while I'm continuing to go to office. All we had to do was to hang in there with our offices because it's a low period of time. But then I went and did this maximum service. It was so happily, did so much service. By the 2012, I was managing trustee and then doing a lot of work. We became Seven Wonders, one of the Seven Wonders in Bangalore, a lot of programs, deep happiness, contentment, and suddenly that thing somewhere this started occurring to me next. Chandra, what happened to your business? By then I was CEO, we were investing money and growing. Business also growing. But what happened to the business? It needs to get behind somewhere. So that suddenly over a period of time, that desire started growing strongly that you need to know about going back and focus and then get this. I had a longer vision of teaching into the corporates. So it was easy for me, and then I also had set my visions and goals around this. Easy for me to think about this and said, yes, I need to get the business grow and then get behind something larger, some larger company, so that I get freed up myself. So in no time, I could keep aside all that service work that I was doing and then got back into this pure business-oriented experiences, maximum. I ensured that my meditation carried with me, ensured that the message of meditation started going into the corporate circles, but every time I would have a business meeting, I talk about it. But otherwise, predominantly, I was working on my business back again, meeting clients and then growing the product and this and that, managing teams. For 3 years, 2013, 2016, 3 years, we were very successful in getting it behind IBM. And this is the most aha moment for me, actually. So when I was driving around New York that time, as we were about to close this transaction with IBM, this company getting acquired, suddenly, until that time, for 7 months, almost every day, 16 hours I was to work. Some of my colleagues would know. Because this whole transaction would take time, you got to put a lot of effort in getting an acquisition and the whole due diligence process. But suddenly, as we're about to be closing this transaction and about another 3-4 weeks left, and I was driving in one of those meetings to this office from New York to summer campuses, and then suddenly this thing started filling into my mind, start downloading. Suddenly, Chandra, what are you going to do next now? What are you going to do next? And there is this voice starts coming up. Next day, because I used to camp in weeks in United States during this time. So next day, again, this thing comes up and says, you're going into this large company. My thought was to leave the company as soon as I get my Sanofi to be integrated with IBM. And then as soon as that is done, within a few months, I'll just come out. But then they started growing and said, you're going into this big company, which is kind of had a great reputation in the world, employee friendly and integrity and all that. So why would you leave that? Why would you not teach meditation in this company? Why would you not do whatever you want to do outside instead do it here? Until that time, trust me, I didn't even have an iota of thing to be in there. Instead, like any startup founder, you finish your company, go on to the next one, right? You want to just come out. So that sort of built up over a period of about 3-4 weeks. I was thinking about it. So in fact, during the negotiations, I even said that one of the core reasons why I will stay in this company is that now I will get opportunity if you allow me to teach meditation, take it to the business leaders and whoever that I come across. Of course, like any company, they said, well, of course, we don't have any problem. You can build it up. So otherwise, where I would have come out and do something else, which I'm not sure, but this purpose sort of built up for me within a period of 3-4 weeks. I was listening, I was questioning myself, is this what I want to do? Will I be happy? As someone who has ran a company by myself, being my own boss for a long time, will I go in and then be work for someone else? All those questions were there for me again and again and again. And it was, the answers were, and every time I used to just ask about this in meditation, I would listen into my feelings. And the answers were very clear to me that if the purpose is to Be teaching meditation, how does it matter who you work for? It's always your attraction. You attract your right boss, you attract your right environment. It so happened that as I was deciding on that, my boss used to be Lawrence Gerhard Jolly, who is happened to be the one who is the general manager who bought or acquired a company, also transformed into a meditator. So my life became so easy. Together, then we took it to the entire IBM corporate in many ways in introducing meditation, right? Our purpose will change and then it will be revealed to us when we meditate. But we just have to be paying close attention and then take those brave steps. We got to jump in and do something. When we jump in and do something, dear friends, we are naturally recognizing whether we're getting that feelings or not, we're aligning or not. Then there is something called going into the flow. When you take up something which you're not still clear, but will it let you go into the flow? We'll understand that on Friday. What does it mean to go into the flow? Japanese talk about this concept. I mean, there are many people talk about this concept of going into the flow. That means you forget about your sense of time, sense of people, sense of environment, but you are in it when you're doing something. You're not clear spiritually, you're not clear through meditation about what you want to do, but whatever you take up, if you recognize that you're going into the flow, that means you are onto the right thing. So we'll understand this concept of going into the flow on Friday more, which is also going to help us. We'll also understand the concept of what Deepak Chopra said. If you can take your abilities and align and express your talents using your abilities for the greater good or for your own happiness or for others, then it is your purpose. You're living your dharma purpose. We'll understand some more concepts of this, dear friends. But to say this, we listen to heart, not to the mind. Mind is short term. Mind is immediate gratification. Your parents in a party and a Diwali time, you went home and your parents and everybody, your relatives were there, you're talking, and they said, hey, what have you done? Okay, I bought a house here. Oh, I bought an apartment there, recently moved in. This, then they look at your parents, you look at it and say, why don't you also get one? Why don't you also get one? They tell you that. You also get overwhelmed with everything that's surrounding environment. So you get influenced. You come home, come back and say, okay, now I need to get an apartment now. You know, your financial position may not support it, but then we got to get one, you take on it. Put ourselves into more trouble. That's mind. That deciding something, because to get an apartment is a 2-year project, right? Perhaps for many people. To get it, build it, and then interiors, house, or what is a 2-year project for most people. So for the next 2 years, you're just spending time on that only, researching this and that and that. But the time goes, right? But that's mind. It's mind is instantaneous gratification. It is short term, right? It is usually record of the recent memories is based on recent memories of the record of the recent memories is what we take and we try to decide something. Whereas heart is more longer term. Think about it, go back and connect the dots in your life. What is the connect the dots, including your parents? What did your parents stand for? In many cases, in many cases, what do your parents stand for? What did their purpose? What did your mother stood for? Your father stood for? See, in general, if there is some emerging pattern, if there was service, if they're selflessly hardworking throughout in the doing something, if they're about helping, if they're about innovating something new, always trying, if they're innovating, always trying new things, then you are ready for your own, potentially your own company. Take that cue from them and then jump in, right? The parents' purpose, and then you connect the dots in your life and then try to listen in. So heart is always based on a longer term, what gives, whereas mind is more short term gratification. So we differentiate that way from mind versus heart and keep listening in. And no hurry. There's no hurry, no worry. Don't waste time. And then we keep listening in. It took me almost 6 weeks to decide that, yes, I'm going to continue long enough into IBM and before I want to exit. And I stayed on for 3 years before I came out. What would have been a hard negotiation to come out in 6 months to 1 year, but I actually stayed on for 3 years because I took it out of mind that when I'll come out. Instead, I said I'll go in and then teach meditation to see until as long as I go. And that's a different story why I came out. That is beyond a point. So, dear friends, purpose of life can be understood by listening into heart, but doing something. Jump in and do something. Don't wait for it. Jump in and do something. A manifestation technique is going to help us. With that, we come to the closure. I ask Madhavan Nambiar sir, if you are there, or is Karthikeyan sir to... Yes, sir, Madhavan sir. Your closing, your comments, please.
Thank you, Chandra. A very enjoyable session as always. Greatly benefited, and I think it's so important what you said on going into the emptiness and then getting the positive energy. I think that is such an important lesson for all of us. And I think the other clear message is that we are all connected, and I think there is strength in numbers so that we could all work together in that path. Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Karthikeyan sir, your closing comments on this. You have actually, I remember you have, you did a discourse on purpose, if I am right, sir. I'm sure you've done a lot of, and you have lived a life full of purpose, I'm sure. Yes, sir.
No, it's a very interesting story of your metamorphosis from working for somebody, then becoming an entrepreneur, and ultimately choosing the purpose of life, what your heart says. That's how you came from an entrepreneur to a teacher. And you also metamorphosis from teaching from school to the university. Now you become a global teacher. Chandra, you are only reconfirming every day what you have done in practically in life. It is not something what you have learned. You read a lot, but what you have done in life, your experience in life, you are sharing. It's beautiful. And getting into the flow, it's a very beautiful idea. And again, what the mind says is all right, but ultimately what the heart says is giving ultimately a sense of fulfillment to yourself, because it's not only you have transformed your own life of the family and the children, you are able to become a very, very important instrument in the hands of the great master in transforming the lives of hundreds to start with thousands, now several thousands. It's multiplying day by day. I'm very happy and proud to be associated. Watching your own metamorphosis from day one to now, great. You ultimately established what Dr. Ramani said yesterday, the purpose of meditation is to further enhance the quality of life in all aspects. That is the way you can sum it up. What does meditation do to you? Enhancing the quality of life of everyone in all aspects. Some find miraculous transformation, but everyone finds some change or the other. And again, Madhavanji reminded us of the great saying that our great guru, Dr. B.K. Sayangar, used to remind me all the time. Great yoga master of the current time. Now he left the body recently. That is, prayer is when you speak to God. In meditation, you keep yourselves empty so that the God speaks to you. What a beautiful saying. He reminded us yesterday. So meditation is all powerful. It does everything. It's miraculous. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthikeyan sir. Wonderful. To conclude, meditation is helping us to speak to that inner greater intelligence. And so naturally, everything that we want is, including the purpose, is revealed to us. It has to happen. It has to happen. Thank you so much, dear friends. Tomorrow is, we'll have a sharing day. We'll invite some professionals who transform their lives through meditation. Certainly, we'll hear from some of us in this thing during 40 days of journey. We'll hear from some of us also here. Until then, have a great day. Thank you so much.